RTD Live Talk. We're live. Detroit's number one late night YouTube talk show. Excited to be back for another live stream. And got a couple of things I want to share with you, which I think is very telling of where we're going in this digital age and what politicians would like to slide under the rug without really bringing much attention to it. And it has to do with the idea of eliminating privacy and the ability to encrypt your devices. And so looking forward to sharing an article as well as some dollar news that I think is very relevant because I think it's way past time to start distinguishing between the Federal Reserve note, which is our national currency issued by the Federal Reserve, which is a contract with the Treasury, aka the US government. And as a result of what they're doing to the world with flooding it with quantitative easing, I think people should really begin paying closer attention to the concept that the dollar is more than just the Federal Reserve note. Therefore, considering that money comes from the United States Mint, not necessarily from the printing press or digital ledgers on someone's screen. So I want to talk about that as well. But before I dive any further, I want to welcome those that are tuning in. Appreciate you for tuning in. Let me check in. As always, if we have any new viewers, let me know where you're watching from. Definitely want to acknowledge your presence, welcome you to the community, and then we can get this thing going. And as I share these little two articles or whatnot, I'm curious to find out what's in your mind and what else is happening out there that I may not have touched on earlier. So we got Spirit King, we got Mr. Johnson, we got Philman, we got John from San Antonio, Vince Grant. I appreciate the love offering to the channel, my friend. Thank you very much. And so that's another thing where YouTube is really cracking down. And so pretty much every video that I've done over the last 2 weeks, before I even finished streaming, they already flag it. I'm thinking like, wow, I didn't even say nothing, but to be expected. So as always, truth or alternative viewpoints will be censored. So any help would help. So Jojo, how you doing, my friend? We got A-Rod, we got Aaron B. Let's keep it simple. I remember you told me how to pronounce it, but off the top of my head, I don't get it. Tim, how you doing? Barlight Broker, start this thing off with a gold chain donation. Barlight Broker, man, I appreciate you for donating to the cause as always. So tonight, just for you, I actually got a little 18 karat piece, compliments of my wife. So, I thought about you, my friend. So I appreciate that $2. So my wife felt bad for me and just went and got me one. So, I got the gold on right now, my man. I appreciate that love offering. And so, if you want to continue to be a sponsor to the chain, I'll add a couple more. So, but all food is about to run out, definitely. What else we got? He says you can make up to 70% interest selling Bitcoin on the peer-to-peer network. Selling or what? So yeah. Question: have you heard of Nikola? People are invested $24 billion and they reported zero revenue for 2020. I heard about Nikola, if I'm pronouncing that right, and Tesla, but I haven't dived much into it. And it's one of those things where conventional assets, man, are being propped up and held together by the federal government. So not too many people are actually out there looking to buy some shares and hold on to it for the long haul. So everybody's basically becoming a day trader. So I haven't followed much of it. I'm not too focused on the financial markets as they're being propped up. And there's definitely opportunity to make gains in there. But yeah, get your weight up, man. That's my primary driver. I do anything I earn, anything that come my way, I like to convert to weight, as well as some other things I invest in on the side. Anyway, so let me stop rambling. As always, Barlight says the gold chain look good on you. Appreciate it, my friend. Any updates, United Allied States? No, I thumbed through it today, but I got tied up, so I wasn't able to get to it further. But we can talk about that continuously tonight. But I don't think it's actually going to move forward, or we won't be told much about it. And so we can definitely touch on that because it's definitely worth mentioning. It says, my mother-in-law's in the Philippines. They're not allowed to leave the house on the weekend. Anyone caught on the streets face 1 week in jail. Really? So the Philippines is cracking down like that, huh? That's pretty serious. Wow. Okay, so let me get into some articles. And so the very first article that I want to throw up, and not even really an article, but something that came across my attention today, and it has to do with the Senate Bill 4051. And so as of last week, apart from maybe the alternative media and of course the crypto community chimed in on it a little bit, it looks like, but yet it's pretty much flied under the radar as far as the implications of what this bill, which is currently in the Senate. And so typically, we see some radical type things or more authoritarian style legislation, starting in the House and then working its way to the Senate. But yet, once again, they're one of the same in a sense. But here is the Senate bill. And so as of now, on the page here, it hasn't even made its way to this website to be even recorded so we can go through the official documentation. But it says it's a bill to improve the ability of law enforcement agencies to access encrypted data and for other purposes. And so as of last week, Senator Lindsey Graham came through. So, Senator Lindsey Graham is very anti anything but the dollar. And so he didn't want Facebook, Libra. He doesn't want anything crypto based because his concern is that it would disrupt the role of the dollar in an international international standards rather. And so, of course, I'm not surprised it starts with him, but it says as of 6/23/20 last week, basically, it was introduced. And so there is no information here yet. It said it has not even been recorded yet. And so you got to dig a little further. And so here's the bill summary of some things that's in the bill. But in a nutshell, what it does is if this bill continues to move forward, which I believe eventually it probably will, because it's all about limiting privacy and giving government access to your apps on your phone, as well as anything that's encrypted. And so we know that emails are encrypted, and there's all types of ways that people like to remain and retain their privacy. What this bill basically says is that the government, all technology companies should have backdoors built into it. And what's really deceiving about this is that it's my personal opinion that majority of the apps and operating systems, they already have a backdoor built into them. We're not told about it. So this is one of the things where they want to paint a picture as if they're requesting through legislation the right to be able to snoop with a warrant into people's phones and apps at any time they have any way they truly want to do so, they can do it. But yet I believe that the ability is already there. This just gives them the right to do it outright. So it's more stuff here, but ultimately what this does is it puts law enforcement in a further and more an authoritarian type of state, because encryption will be frowned upon, and they will basically say that you are not entitled to locking them out of your phone or whatnot. So if they serve you a warrant without any question for whatever purposes, you have to give them access to your passwords and stuff like that, or all the apps from moving forward would be openly, they will have a backdoor to them. So something that we should definitely be paying attention to, because it was put out there last week. Most people, I'm sure, have not heard much about it, and it has not hit the mainstream media as of yet. But if it moves forward, you can imagine the very concept of privacy will be long gone by far. So we can dive more into the article as well. And so what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? The fact that there is a bill, Senate Bill 4051, that's out there, and it's designed to make sure that your smartphone is easily accessible based upon their desired interest in getting into your information for any reason, ultimately. Yeah, so let me check in via chat real quick, and then I'm going to open up the phone lines so we can chit-chat a little bit. As always, if you have any questions, highlight at Rethinking a Dollar, and I can definitely touch on that. So Frank Williams says, I researched the Congress members on the United Allied States site. Very weird stuff. One guy was mentioned in a report in Iowa complaining about COVID-19 testing and tech not being efficient. Interesting. So I wonder, Franklin, what is the name of that gentleman you're referring to? I can definitely pull that article up as well. I just made 5% profit from selling crypto. From selling, how do you make 5% from selling? You might want to hodl that stuff, because with what they're going to do to the dollar, the Federal Reserve note rather, I wouldn't necessarily want to sell that, because it will definitely benefit from the quantitative easing as well as a request to devalue outright. What it says, only good thing is there are millions of criminals to keep them busy. So I think our government is all criminals at this point. Get a burner phone and forward the calls. Okay, I've heard the word burner phones in quite some time. Interesting. They still have those things. John the 10th Man says, Mike, I have a question. Do you think if they ever have forced injection to give us, it will make us into zombies? Ah, man, that's on some science fiction type movies there where zombies, that's a little bit much there. I don't think that would benefit them, meaning the orchestrators of this whole event. I don't think it would benefit them much to have a bunch of zombies running around. because primarily, if you look at the control that they have over humanity already, majority of the people who follow the mainstream media, as well as those individuals out there driving in a car with a mask on, they're already pretty much zombies in a sense, because they'll believe anything. So it don't take much. So I don't think it'll be an outright zombie. I more so think that it'll further give them an idea as to who is compliant and who is resisting. And from that measurement there, from those that have actually taken that injection, whether it's initially harmful up front, or is this more so an experimental, because there's nothing they can put in that thing to actually solve or cure what we're experiencing. So it's more so to see who's compliant and who's not. And then moving forward, I'd imagine, as they've already made clear, that we're going to be dealing with this situation for quite some time now. So even if there was to be an initial injection of whatever they throw out there, it's good to say it'll be a second round down the line. And then if it's those future ones that will be recommended or you'll need an updated dosage of something. And then what's in those things, I would imagine, would be the things that people consider the mark of the beast type of thing. So I think this initial go around will be to find out who's compliant and who's not, so that they could probably separate the good, their version of good from bad, and further cause more damage and destruction. So that's my personal opinion. All right, so let me see. Keep on moving. So here's another article here. And so I would definitely, for those that have interest, that Senate bill, I would encourage you guys to check into it for yourself. But it's just one of those things where there'll be more bills swept under the carpet that we will not hear about, that will further entrap and enslave us. And so here's just another article here. It says Graham, Cotton, Blackburn introduce balanced solution to bolster national security. So this is that Senate Bill 4051, which is to end the use of warrant-proof encryption that shields criminal activity. So, we all know, based upon the Patriot Act, anything that's falls into the category of whether it be money laundering, criminality, terrorism, you name it, you can fall into this trap where the backdoor access will be given to them to go into your phone and find out and snoop and do everything else. And then it plays it has big ramifications for cryptocurrencies, because as a result of all this, it'll be easier for them to have access to your phones to directly see what you're doing and see what apps and see what your wallet is, and to easier find your public key, in hopes of one day being able to link you to some type of money laundering, terrorism type of activity. So here's a lengthy little paragraph here from Lindsey Graham here about this bill, and I'll read this and I'll move on. It says terrorists and criminals routinely use technology, whether smartphones, apps, or other means, to coordinate and communicate their daily activities. So terrorists and criminals, what happened to just your ordinary citizen? Because not everybody is a terrorist and a criminal. It says in recent history, we have experienced numerous terrorism cases and serious criminal activity where vital information could not be accessed even after a court order was issued. Unfortunately, tech companies have refused to honor these court orders and assist law enforcement in their investigations. My position is clear. After law enforcement obtains the necessary court authorizations, can you trust that? They should be able to retrieve information to assist in their investigations. Our legislation respects and protects the privacy rights of law-abiding citizens or law-abiding Americans. It also puts the terrorists and criminals on notice that they will no longer be able to hide behind technology to cover their tracks. So we have a U.S. Senator. Don't want you to have any privacy. All right. And then the very last article here, I will move on after this one. And so this, I found it to be very interesting. So this, I'm not sure of his name, but I listened to his little 3-minute spiel here, and it's summarized underneath. But ultimately what he's saying is the world no longer truly believes that quantitative easing is actually designed to keep the economy going the way that they mentioned it's intended to do. They know, everybody pretty much knows that it's a way of just bailing out the 1%ers, and as he said here, shorting the world or flooding the world with currency. And his point is, why even go through all that? Just flat out devalue the dollar as far as the trading weight of it down to, as he says here, we're going to target, just basically come out and say, we're going to target a 70 or 60% on the dollar index. And so he's saying if the Treasury just decides to just devalue the dollar outright and stop playing games with this quantitative easing, there will be no shortage of dollars, around the world to pay off all these over the top debts. And therefore, that would ultimately mean higher prices everywhere in every area of your life. And this is just a gentleman here as an investor coming out right and saying quantitative easing is the same thing. It's a long, drawn out process. Quit all that QE stuff, just outright devalue the dollar, and let's just get on with this thing. And so that's what led me to start off by talking about the idea that it's worth your while now. Of course, most people have, but it's psychologically, we've all been conditioned to use the word dollar interchangeably for anything labeled currency. And so we have to get to the point where we are able to distinguish between the Federal Reserve note, which is what we're experiencing, all these lending windows and QE, all that's done in Federal Reserve notes. And as of right now, our financial futures, majority of the people watching and majority of the world, they price their financial futures in their national currency. And as a result of what we're experiencing now, because of the so-called cover-up of this health scare, they're going to do any and everything possible. The Federal Reserve has made it clear that they have more tools in a toolbox. And ultimately, what that is just the creation of more Federal Reserve notes. And so if you know that they're going to be creating these things with reckless abandon, then why would majority of people continue to base their financial futures upon these notes? So this is where I think we need to get into the point of distinguishing between a Federal Reserve note and an actual dollar. When I mean dollar, the actual coinage that comes from the United States Mint. And so right now today, silver prices went up a little bit, gold went up a little bit. And I saw a lot of people in the alternative media atmosphere that was very excited due to some activity happening as today was the last day of trading on the markets for some of those future contracts. And there was a boost in silver. So a lot of people out there, tweeting, prices are moving, get involved. And so as the world is flooded with Federal Reserve notes, the complete opposite will happen when it comes to metals, which are dollars. Everything coins that have dollar on the bottom of them, those coins will be the recipients of all that excess debt that's being brought into existence. So moving forward, pricing your financial future in something different will be worth your while, and it'll also help you sleep better at night and worry less about what to actually do, what strategies. And so you have a lot of people out here with all types of approaches and on how to invest. And so at this point, because of what the Federal Reserve is doing, is it really investing or is it gambling? Because you're hoping that you'll be able to get out of whatever it is you're putting funds into, especially if it's one of these overinflated asset bubble type of things here. You're hoping to get out in time. And that's one of the things where you can't time the markets because no one knows. And so moving forward, pricing your future in weight. And then some people might say, we have cryptocurrency out there, say Satoshis or whatever, so be it. But I think we need to talk more about weight as opposed to Federal Reserve notes, because there's going to be an unlimited supply of those things coming. And if you are still holding on to those for dear life in abundance, you're going to be a victim of monetary toolkit that's going to be unleashed even more, especially as they look to devalue. So with that being said, enough of me ranting. I just thought I wanted to get that out because I'm trying to figure out a way to actually just hammer down the importance of distinguishing between a Federal Reserve note and a dollar. And so everything we've done up until this point has been Federal Reserve note based, but that's just what it is. It's a note. It's a debt instrument that Uncle Sam can't pay back. So they're going to inflate those things away. And that's all she wrote. So with that being the case, let me hear from you guys. Give me a call. Let's talk. Whatever else is on your mind, feel free to chime in on. Definitely curious to hear what's happening in your neck of the woods. And then also we have a variety of other things going on with protests still going on. I've seen a very disturbing video today, and I will try to pull it up, but it was out in Utah. And so in Utah, it was supposedly a BLM protest rally. But once again, it's overwhelmingly not African-American based. And then you have a person who actually opened up fire on one of the vehicles that was passing through. And so when I saw that, it lets me know that that was probably a actual law enforcement agent undercover and decided to shoot into a vehicle. So that's type of stuff right here where I'm sure by now a lot of people realize that, Antifa and Black Lives Matter, those two movements, they are not what they're painted out to be. They're actually paid provocateurs that are doing exactly what their bosses would like for them to do, which is to cause disruption. And so that was a very disturbing video. Did anybody have a chance to see it? I'm going to try to find it because there was something in the video that really caught my attention. It was one of the individuals behind the lady or behind the guy that opened fire on the vehicle. Let me see if I can find a video. And let me see. Here we go. Okay. So let me see. Okay, so here's a picture. But what caught my attention about this video here, which I'll try to find in a minute, is that here you have, this is a short little clip that's out on the internet. And so if you Google Black Lives Matter, Utah, or something like that, it'll probably pop up. But here's a slow motion picture clip. Here you have a gentleman here covered up, and he has a handgun, and he is shooting into a Suburban or a truck that's driving through. And this is supposed to be a Black Lives Matter rally. But yet there's only, in the video, there's only one black person there. And then this lady here, she was very calm until this guy came from behind her and just opened up fire on this vehicle here. And the look on her face is what caught my attention. It's blurry. But what you can see here, she was floored. She was shocked that this guy came through the crowd and just shot into this vehicle. And I'd imagine, that's not a real true way to get your point across by firing into a vehicle like that. But when I saw that, it's just more evidence that the Black Lives Matter movement has already been heavily infiltrated by a lot of bad individuals. So looks like an agent. Yeah, very true. And so it's just shocking, man. It's shocking to see that stuff. All right. So, but it's real life, and I'd imagine there's more to come. So Johnny says the only real dollar is gold. Okay, so you look like you're more on the gold side, but I'm more of the bimetallic standard, to where if you go back 100 plus years, well over 100 plus years prior to 1873, silver has always been the people's money. And the crime of 1873 basically decoupled the ratio, which forced all the one percenters who had the gold into a much more better financial position than everybody. And so the farmers and bankers and all those people, not farmers, but the average working class person in 1873 lost out big time when silver was demonetized in a sense. So at this current point, because of the weaponization of the Federal Reserve note, gold and silver will do you justice down the line. And so the pothead says Bitcoin is the only currency. Okay. And so I like that thought there. It's definitely something that can be used as a vehicle out of this dying system if you denominate it in Federal Reserve notes. Okay. But yet, as I started off talking about earlier, due to this 4051 encryption bill, I would imagine if this bill passes, then they're going to automatically lump in terrorism with cryptocurrency that's not outside of the centrally controlled central bank digital currencies. And so it might be a little bit more unfavorable to operate above ground as a law-abiding citizen if for some reason this bill passes, which I'll put up again for those that might not be familiar with it. If this bill passes, if it gains momentum, if Senate Bill 4051 and passes, it has to do with encrypted data. So utilizing the word encrypted data is basically saying that this law passes, all technology companies that do business in the USA will have to have a back door, but which a majority of them already do. But that this is just designed to give them legal grounds to then request for that access, as opposed to do it outright the way they probably do already. Because everybody know the Five Eyes. We got the top spying agencies. We got the NSA here. We got Australia. We got UK. We got all these Israeli people. They all have apps and software that can see everything. So if you're on the internet, they're watching you. They're listening to you. So I wouldn't be too surprised. And so because of that, I think the encryption concept will be challenged, and God forbid they lump in cryptocurrency individuals into money launderers or terrorists or whatever they might want to do, because by the stroke of a pen, they can actually, come up with any law. Now it's a matter of how they enforce it or whatnot. But once again, if you're utilizing T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and anybody else, they're going to have to comply. Therefore, what do you do? So privacy is one of those things where privacy will become a bad word pretty soon if this bill moves forward. So that's what it is. Wife 18 karat go. So let me see. So phone lines are open. Give me a call. Let's talk. And so silver and gold. And so Barlight Broker says silver and gold are God's money. Yeah. I see where you're going with that, but yet, yeah, God, as far as a supreme being, don't necessarily need a earth metal to accomplish whatever it is he needs to accomplish, from this in the spiritual realm. So I don't call gold and silver God's money just because, God don't need money, because he's well beyond all that. So I think it's a pleasure and a benefit and something given to mankind to enjoy, as it's mentioned in Genesis about all the rich natural resources we have. So yeah, I apologize for that. Let me make sure. All right, so we should be good to go. I saw I missed a couple calls. Give me a call. We'll talk, and we'll go from there. What else says? Those reports about the ICU in Texas. Oops, still missing calls. Let me see here. Oh, dang it. All right, here we go. Calls are coming in. I apologize for that. Let me see here. If it goes through, it should be good to go. It did not go through. All right, let's try this one here. Okay, so the phone lines are working. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello?
Hello?
Hi there. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Mike, Tony from Oakland.
Tony.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, my friend. What's on your mind tonight?
Yesterday you had a person come on and talk about the new crypto and things that are going down. And I was trying to get you to type into your computer ISO 20, no, it's 222.
ISO
222.
22.
222.
200, okay.
Try to make it simple.
222. All right, let me see what pops up here. ISO 222, okay. So I see a lot of things pop up. Financial messaging. Okay, here goes something about financial messaging standard. Okay. Shout out to for us.
It looks like they're going to try to use Ripple, and if you did a podcast a day before that, talking about these 4 or 5 countries or 15 countries that the U.S. has signed on with.
Yeah.
I think I've seen those countries within that ISO that I'm giving you now, so it may be something that you want to look up.
Okay.
But I did not, and I started to do a research on it, and I did not see where the major players were hooked into that. It looked like it was just going to be the U.S. and their allies that was going to be hooked into it, and not necessarily China and Russia and the other countries. But the ISO does have India in it, which surprised me.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, so I see a lot of information. No countries or nothing like that mentioned as of now. So between the UAS, United Allied States, and this ISO 222, there's some things in the works. It looks like it's well in the works. So interesting. I would definitely dive further into this because looks like this coming together. Yeah.
I got 1 or 2 more things.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you hear that there was going to be a grid financial, what they call it, financial close down or shut down in Canada from the 2nd to the 9th?
So last night somebody called in and mentioned that, and they gave it with like certainty. So is that something you came across or what?
I heard about it and started looking into it, and come to find out it was part of the QAnon crowd that is putting that out there. So I just wondered if you heard it, and that seems to be where it's all coming from. And the last thing I want to say, and I'll let somebody else get in. Is there a lot of fireworks going on around the country that after midnight that nobody else knows about? Because they are just booming out here after midnight, man, and it's illegal out here for one thing, and people have been calling in, and there's nobody doing anything about it. So I'm thinking maybe that's a psyop, sleep deprivation, that type of thing. Or here's another one to look up. It's called LRAD. It's a military thing. It's something that they have for crowd suppression. LRAD.
LRAD. All right, let me see what comes up here. Long range. What is LRAD? Okay, sonic cannon. Okay, here goes something. Ooh wee. Okay, here goes something.
Is right.
Okay, what is LRAD? It says a sound cannon used by police explained. And so it looks like a huge microphone type of situation with somebody's holding. Okay, so here's a picture here of a very large device. It look like a microphone or one of them big what you call them, voice projector thingies. So.
Right.
I wasn't familiar with that.
And they put it on the back of a military truck, and they can disperse any crowd. It makes you seem like your heart's beating out of your chest. And I don't know why they aren't using that, but maybe when things do go hit the fan, that's one of their devices. And they can make sounds like they can make any sound they want, really. Yeah. Through that megaphone. Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking is happening now. They're testing some equipment. So let's just be aware of what's going on around us.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for calling and sharing that, because I was not aware of this. Appreciate you, my man.
All right. Bye.
Interesting. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Lost him. Give me a call. Let's talk. That was some very interesting things there, man. So once again, I love when I'm able to hear what's going on from everybody. Appreciate you guys for calling and sharing your thoughts. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. How you doing? This is Steven from Milwaukee.
Steven, how you doing, my friend? What's in your mind?
I'm doing good. I can share so many things, but I'm only going to share a few because I can't remember everything.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, why is Congress and the Senate on so many vacations? They're going on another 17-day vacation, which is leading into the next stimulus package. Yeah. That's one thing, Mike. Yeah. Don't answer it yet. Uh-huh. Okay?
Okay, go ahead.
My money got tight, right? I got shook like everybody else. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, this is wild, man. I was sanitizing this, that, and the third, killing my plants with Lysol, everything. Mm-hmm. And then the more I dug into this, I started to realize this doesn't make sense. Okay. So I said, I have to make money. Guess what I did?
What's that?
Started driving Lyft.
That's real, man. I'm seeing Ubers now. I'm seeing a lot of Ubers now. The windows down, driver got a mask on, people in the back got masks on. So how long have you been doing that?
Man, I've been doing it for the last month. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Let me tell you something. Yeah. I get to talk to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I pick up people going to hospitals, going to the airport, blah, 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 blah. I picked up a young lady 3 days ago. Yeah. She was flying. She came to visit. She was flying back to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I'm in Milwaukee. Yeah. Okay? She's flying back to Cleveland. We have a conversation. Because I always ask people, I said, look, if you want me to wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. But I'm not into it. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you want the AC, I'll put the AC on. If you want the windows down, I'll leave the windows down. But I am not living in fear of this situation. Yeah. Okay? Because I don't think that they're telling the truth. Mm-hmm. Anyway, she tells me she is a lab technician at a hospital. Okay. She works third shift. Her job is to process these COVID-19 tests. Mm-hmm. She tells me, look, the tests are only 40% reliable. There's two types of tests. Mm. There's this rapid test. You can get a result in 20 minutes, and then there's that swab test up your nose. Yeah. Brother, listen, I don't know if I told you this before about the president of Tanzania a month ago.
Coming out with a beverage.
Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, I actually talked about it. So he has a beverage. Yeah. There's supposed to be like a cure or something like that.
They're running game on us, and it's all leading up to control. Mm-hmm. It's all leading up to mass vaccinations. Yeah. You taking something. This is an evil game. And listen, one thing that I am so grateful for, Mike, and I'm going to get off. Mm-hmm. I am no longer living in fear. Yeah. This is what they're driving people to, fear. Yeah. I am not living in fear. I'm telling you. Yeah. Read chapter 24 and then read the last two verses of chapter 28. Mm-hmm. The Lord gave us one great commission. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of people sleeping. The only job we've been asked to do is share the gospel. Correct. Period. Correct. If you receive it, you receive it. If you don't, you don't. Right. Period. Hey. But I'm telling you, I am not going to be living in fear, bro.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling and sharing that insight.
Peace.
Yeah, be good. Man, great call there. Great call there. So it's always good just to get more people's perspective as to what's going on. And so, him hearing it firsthand from someone that works in the hospitals, that has worked with the deceased and is able to actually give him a better insight, gave us a better insight. So it's just more confirmation as to the hoax of everything that's going down and the fear they want us to live in. So yeah, phone lines are open. Give me a call. Want to hear from more people as well. If you have any new viewers out there, Let me know where you're watching from. Put your location in the chat. I want to find out if we got anybody overseas, like in Europe or out in Asia. Let me know what it's looking like in those areas as well. And so I noticed that I like how it says, notice all the 5Gs popping up. Yeah. Since we've been on lockdown, they've been out there working, putting up the damn towers. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Casey from Texas.
Casey, how you doing, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
Good. I just saw your little article about the cryptos becoming illegal and all that stuff. And I think I read the article, and I think it said they wanted to more or less make the crypto wallets illegal. So it's not necessarily the cryptos in themselves that are going to be illegal, but yeah. I think as long as your money's in Coinbase or Binance, it'll be safe. And, in all honesty, silver, that's what people should be doing. You go in there, you pay cash, you get your 20 ounces of silver or whatever, and the government has no idea, what the silver that you have.
Correct. Very true. Very true. And so, so as far as illegal, I think it'll be a possibility down the line. So as of right now, I would imagine that they would want to lump in cryptocurrency users for their own purposes of the money laundering, terrorism, criminality, whatever they want to down the line. So as of now, it's not, but there's going to come a point where the central bank digital currencies will have a showdown with the decentralized blockchain tokens and coins. And at that point, I think they could probably roll out something saying that, they can lump people into certain projects can be labeled terrorist organizations or whatever. So that's down the line. But one day there will be a showdown rather, between central bank currencies, stable coins, as well as decentralized other blockchains. And that's when I think they're going to roll out something utilizing this type of legislation about encryption not being good for the national security, as it was mentioned in the article I showed. So it's down the line, but they're going to do anything they can to disrupt any competition out there. So that's what I believe is coming down the line.
That's exactly what I wanted to bring up next. Jed McCabe, the guy who made XRP, that man's worth $20 billion, and I don't think he's going to let his little investment go down the drain.
But see,
I was thinking, I read that if you're an XRP user, you can get something from MasterCard. It's called some cryptocurrency that's based off of a credit card. Or a credit card that's based off of a cryptocurrency. So that kind of bypasses the capital gains tax. And I was wondering, what do you think about that? Do you think they'll go something like that? All
right, I'm sorry.
You can use.
Say that last part one more time.
I read something that you can get for MasterCard. It's called like a BitCard or something like that. It's basically it's basically a credit card that's based off of XRP and other cryptos, and it kind of bypasses your capital gains tax. So if you instead of selling your cryptos and giving half it to the government, the credit card goes around that. Do you think you'll start seeing a lot more stuff like that, and you can start bypassing capital gains? Like that?
So is it a lending platform where you can store it there and just lend them out and receive funds for it? So that'd be like the DeFi type of thing. So definitely that's where all the gains appear to be with all these apps that are coming out now. They're making astronomical gains. So MasterCard gonna get in it, Visa gonna. So I can see all of them getting in on it, and it working until the CBDCs are rolled out and the government say, okay, now it's time to narrow all those alternatives down, and let's force them towards what we want their future to look like in these central bank coins. So it's going to work good until some type of legislation come about. Then they're going to start cracking down. And mind you, all the exchanges in this country have to comply with AML, KYC, and all that stuff like that. And if you're going to do business here as a financial institution, you got to comply by those rules, which will make it very difficult for days of old of just being able to roam and just trade and hold and all that stuff like that to continue on, in my opinion. But, we'll see. So, competition is something else, man. Like, when them CBDCs are rolled out within the next, 6 to 12 months, they're going to start cracking down on anything labeled as an alternative that provides choice. So that's just my 2 cents, man. But, hey, I appreciate you calling in, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Be good. Interesting. Great call. Appreciate that. We got another call here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike. It's low blood pressure. Corpus Christi. How's it going?
Good, my friend. Corpus Christi in the building. What's going on, my friend? What's on your mind?
Okay. Look, I like how you're going spiritual. I like it. Look, let me tell you what I experienced yesterday.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, look, I have a friend, my wife's friend. She was doing confirmation because she's getting married, right? So we go to this Catholic church. Haven't been in the church in more than, Christian church. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'm there and I'm watching I don't know what it is, a bishop or whatever. Everybody's wearing masks and you can't even hear what they're saying. Everything is muffled. The choir has masks. Everybody's muffled.
Yeah.
The devil must be having a field day with this, Mike. He must be, if it is that, he must be laughing.
Yeah.
Everybody's, I'm like, this is a place of God. It's the only place you're going to get sick is there. Hallelujah. I'd be honored to get sick in a church, The best place to die is there.
Yeah. And so I had an experience this weekend as well. One of my family members had a christening at the Catholic church. And so everybody wore masks. Only a certain amount of family was able to go. So, we didn't make the cut. So we weren't too mad about that, but I heard it was very uncomfortable to sit there with a mask on. And so, yeah, it's to be expected, man. Like, I'm not surprised, put it like that. So, and those are the people who are complying down to the T, and they will be considered, as time move forward, those will be labeled as people who are compliant, and they are the good guys. And it's the other people who do not take those type of CDC guidelines seriously. We're going to be painted as the dissidents that need to be corrected or dealt with type of thing. So, yeah. So
it's like they're trying to take our religion away from us. They a little bit, nitpicking. Those people are gonna say, "Hey, I just stay home. I'm not gonna deal with all that craziness."
Very true, very true. So enjoy the choice while you still have it, my friend. But hey, I appreciate your call. I got a couple more calls coming in. Thanks. It's good to hear from you, my friend.
All right, Mike. Have a good night.
Yep, you too. Yes, sir, man. Appreciate that call. Let me hear from you guys. We got another super chat here. Appreciate that. Bar Light Broker says, we always have money for gold chains. We always have love for Bar Lights and Tupac also. Most importantly, we always have love for God and the truth. Yeah. Bar Light Broker, I'll take it you're probably a serious Tupac fan. I was listening to that in the car the other day, and it still comes on regular stations. Normally, it's like it was happened yesterday, and it's been over 20 years, longer than 20 years. Yeah. So interesting. Mr. Carter, give me a call. Let's talk. Curious to find out what else is going on. Let me see. It says, Mike, agree 100%. Once many into crypto, the laws change. Global bank cartel and government needs us to volunteer to use crypto, digital currency. Also, we're essential at digitally right now. Anyway, very true. Very true. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Heavy Money Bags from Killeen, Texas. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, I see. I like how you get biblical and stuff. I want to put some funk on your mind and open up everybody's eyes on something. Just for those who believe, if you can receive it, then we'll move on.
Okay.
All right. Let's start at the beginning when the devil and Eve met. I'm going to ask you a question. Did he lie to her about what God told them not to do? Did he lie to her? Yes or no?
Did he lie to her? Yes or no? Let me see. Because I got to dissect that. Because if I say yes or say no, I want to make sure I'm correct. Did he lie to her? First of all, he didn't tell it to her. Adam was supposed to tell it to her. So he did lie to her, yes.
Okay. Now, he said, if you eat from this tree, that you will surely die. Okay. The devil told her, you won't for surely die. Now, check this out. That's the first sign of racism to destroy the human race, because that's what it would have done. That's what it did, destroy the human race, because now we will surely die. You with me so far?
All right. So how does the race play into the surely die part?
I'm sure. I'm glad you asked that question. Follow along with me.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The Bible says, as is on earth, it will be in heaven. Okay. As in heaven, it will be on earth. Okay. Now check this out. Follow along with me closely. We're gonna start in court. Okay. If me and you get into it and we have a a problem between each other. And me and you, not your side or my side, can't settle the problem. We have to have a mediator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go back to heaven now. Boom. When they said the war took place in heaven between Satan and his angels and God. Okay.
Yeah.
Now there was a dispute, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now at the end of everything, God's people and Satan's people can't be the people that determine the end.
Mm-hmm.
So where we come in at as the human race, he created us for two reasons. The first one was because he loved us. He did love us, but there's a fourth from that.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes back, calls us to the air, and all that stuff takes place, which check this out.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be the jurors.
Yeah.
The human race is supposed to be the jurors over what happened, over the consequences of Satan and his angels. That's why he wants to destroy the human race, because at the end of all this,
mm-hmm.
God's people is going to be the jurors and to Satan and the angels.
Okay, so yeah. So okay, so technically, I mean, well, Satan has already been condemned based upon Christ's work after raising from the grave and taking the keys of death and the grave, and that was a condemnation for him right then and there, because he was not able to fulfill his mission of trying to kill God himself. So condemnation was passed right there, technically speaking. And I think, okay, but go ahead.
No, what you got to understand, okay, let's go to the resurrection. When he comes back, he won't touch earth, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you go strictly by the Bible, he won't touch earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first thing's going to happen, the living that's wicked will be destroyed at the brightness of his coming, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then the dead in Christ will rise.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going by the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, they get called up to the air because, remember, he's going to be in the air.
Yeah.
How the Bible says. So now his saints is in the air. The only people that's going to be left on earth, and he says it's going to be that bound for 1,000 years, is Satan and the dead that's not in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
They're still in the graves for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
That's when it will be peace on earth, because every man will be gone.
Yeah.
Every man will be gone, because if you look at scripture, it says that.
Yeah. Okay, so watch this. So let me ask you a question, then I want to move on to a couple more callers. And so the racism aspect, you hit it earlier, about from Adam and Eve and the racism. Touch on that real quick, then I got a call I want to take on.
Perfect. I'm glad you said that. Now, where the race thing comes in is Ezekiel, when it describes exactly what God looked like. Matter of fact, it's Ezekiel 8, verse 2, I want to believe. You can set up at a later time. Okay, the race comes in, and we're all multicolored, because God is like fire. If you read that scripture that I just gave you, you'll come to the concept that he's fire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's amber. He's multicolored. So our races are multicolored. So when you look at the rainbow, the promise that he gave us, that's why when you see the rainbow, the promise that I will not flood the earth again, this is my promise, that it's several colors as one piece.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're one human race, but we're multicolored,
mm-hmm.
we're one race. We're all one thing. You don't know nobody from Saturn. You don't know nobody from the moon. You don't know nobody from Venus. You don't know nobody from Pluto.
Right.
We're all right here on Earth. We're one human race, but we're multicolored.
Yeah.
So what Satan does is attack the colors within itself.
Mm-hmm.
If I put the black on the white on the Mexican, and now everyone's fighting.
Yeah. Okay, I see where you're going with that.
He's trying to destroy the human race.
Right.
That's the whole concept, because at the end, the human race is going to be the one who's going to be with him when he judges the end of the world. We're going to be jurors, is what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, so watch this. I want to get some more calls in. So thank you for clarifying that, and thank you for definitely taking it down that road, because I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, man. I was just
appreciate you, man.
Good.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right. Yeah, man. I think I definitely make time to get edified in my spirit by hearing a little biblical, spiritual moments there. Okay, so let me see here. Going to go a couple more minutes. We're going to dial back. I see some questions out there. Let me see. I think it was something here. It says, what do you think about gold and silver mining stocks? Darrell Lewis. What do I think about them? Great great assets to be in between now and the time this thing fully blows up and we're introduced to whatever that next currency or next world order monetary system will be. My personal opinion is between now and that time, gold and mining stocks in general will do extremely well because they're derivatives in a sense, or they're the origins of how gold and silver comes into existence. So they're going to do well. So there's all types of companies out there that I've actually had a lot of people on in the mining sector, as well as in those in exploration side of things that offer a lot of promising things. So my biggest hang up is there are shares of companies, and shares are not tangible. So between the time you're promised something and the time you're not able to receive full compensation for it, anything can happen. So in the short time, they're going to do very good. In the future, I think mines might be nationalized as governments decide to bring all that stuff under their own window. So that's just my 2 cents there. But in the short term, they will definitely continue to go up. When it says, what will the next outbreak look like here in the U.S. and abroad? Alex, great point. Man, so outbreak. Not sure what the next outbreak will be. I'm definitely expecting some type of catastrophic event outside of what we've already experienced, something of a different kind between now and the election. And it all depends upon ultimately, like right now, I think with Trump coming out with them tweets a week ago talking about treason, throwing Obama out there. And of course, there's some stuff going on right now with Biden. If that momentum gains continues on and some evidence is put out there and some investigative work is done and some names are called and some subpoenas and all that stuff like that is out there, then I can see things getting very hectic. And then that being the catalyst for whatever false flag that the powers that's orchestrating all this decide to throw out there. Could it be an EMP attack, power grid attack, some type of, I don't know. But between now and November, I anticipate something. I don't know what. So that's one of the things. It's hard to put, to pinpoint. But I can say we all can probably expect something. And then worst case scenario, the minimum of all this, the second wave is what they want to prepare us for. So that's the worst case scenario, which would then lead to a lockdown. But then Trump said that he won't be locking things down. So it's going to be a war between states. It's going to be a war between states, governors, and the president. And so I think it's going to be a little, we might end up finding ourselves in the divided states of America, which will also then further the reason why it would be hard to have an election if for some reason states decide to secede from the union and all types of stuff like that. And so, yeah, has anyone found 90% at 40% silver coins recently in pocket change or bank rolls? John, I have not, even though I do glance at the side of my quarters for sure to see, and I found some in the past. Says, when will they back off? The death rate is decreasing rapidly. They will not, Jonathan, unfortunately. I think the goal is to keep numbers escalated so that people are still reminded of the fact that the numbers, real or not, they're out there, and that at any moment you can become one of those numbers. And so because of that concern there, I can see the numbers continue to be pumped up. States, like I think Arizona right now is closing down things and Florida's closing down things. And once again, they're closing down businesses that are already struggling. And there will not be, I think that I heard something about there's 134 billion or something left on the PPP from, I think the deadline, according to the committee hearing I listened to today, the deadline for those funds ended today, I think, or something like that. So between this next month of July, and as a caller mentioned, with Congress going on another 17-day vacation, it's more than likely either something will be rushed through, where there'll be an immediate emergency to be called back in, or they're going to just let this thing roll out. And if Trump doesn't play by meaning the Democrat side of things, if Trump don't play by their rules, they will not play ball with him, therefore furthering his chances of continuing on this campaign rally, making all these promises will not be very easy to do. If people out there are not able to find employment, there will be more layoffs and the funds stop rolling in. Doesn't spell re-election for Mr. President Trump. So anywhere I go, if he wants to become president or remain president for another term, unfortunately, the Democrats are setting him up to where he's going to have to show the people the money. So he's going to have to show them something, show them some currency. If not, he's not getting a second term. What else we got? Super chat. What is that? Sony's. Let me see. Brando Commando. Appreciate that, my friend. It says, thanks, Mike. Always a pleasure to hang out on RTD. Appreciate you, Brando Commando. So I think tomorrow night, I'm going to try to work tomorrow. Might do tomorrow midday. I'm not sure. But tomorrow, I'm going to try to have an RTD meetup where I'm going to invite anybody who's paying attention. I think we can have a maximum on Zoom of about 100. And so last time I had that, we had about 15 on there. So it's just going to be an open mic session. Call in, join me via video. I'd love to see some faces and, can't shake your hand, but, can dap the screen up. So we're going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to stay tuned for all the details of that, but definitely join me tomorrow. Then what else we got here? About to dial back, almost approaching our hour point. It says, Mike, you missed a chat for $2. Let me scroll back up. Did I? Let me see. I don't see it. Let me see. Tony, it looks like I missed it. Let me try the other computer here and see. Let me see. Okay. Oh, so I did do that. So it was from the Kingdom Benefactor. It says, just join, may call in any particular subject. So yeah, it's whatever's on your mind, my friends. So call in. And here we go here. So yeah, if you are still out there, sorry about that. I did put it on the screen though. Feel free to call in just whatever's on your mind in relations to whatever we're experiencing here in this country or around the world. So go a couple more minutes and we'll dial back. So Tony, thanks for reminding me of that one. Phone line is busy. Oh, dang it. All right, so give me a call. Oops, I'm missing all these dang phone calls. Yeah, I gotta do better. Gotta do better on that. So yeah, give me a call. Phone line should be open. Should be good to go. Yeah, so for those that have joined the live stream, don't be afraid to hit that thumbs up button. Show your love for the channel. Smash the like button. Be proactive. Appreciate that. You've been real consistent lately. Don, I appreciate you, man. So yeah, the goal is, because YouTube is doing a great job of trying to destroy confidence and being able to further reach more people. So they have demonetized videos and people are not getting notified. So they're trying to do their best to disrupt any type of consistency. So my job is I'm just going to come on and just talk and never mind all that stuff, because it's one of those things where you feel like you're trying to reach more people, to warn more people. But then again, the algorithms and YouTube, they don't want people warned. So it's like you sometimes, outside of being able to connect with people who are frequent visitors, it's always good to reach out to new people who need the information the most, because there's more than enough people. Like right now, there's 40 million people that are unemployed, have like not a single strand of income other than the government, from the article I did yesterday or actually shared today. So those are the people that need to be hearing this, because more than likely they're going to continue to sit around and do nothing, waiting on that next round of stimulus, not realizing that when and if it comes, it's going to be, they're going to have to sign off their life and their rights to get that. And I'd imagine if people knew that, they would not be willing to sign off their life for some currency that's going to be hyperinflated away. So somebody has to tell them. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is the Kingdom Benefactor. How are you?
I'm doing good, my friend. Appreciate you calling. What area are you in, and what's on your mind tonight?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay, good deal.
And things that have been going on have been definitely, a huge concern for me. But what I want to do is I want to run a theory past you that I have, right?
Okay.
About Joe Biden running for president.
Okay.
I feel like the Democrats know that he is not capable,
right,
of running.
Right.
So my theory is this. My theory is that this isn't about Joe Biden. It's about whoever they want to be the vice president.
Right.
My theory is, and as a Christian, I started thinking about some things, and I thought about a comparison between Ahab and Jezebel.
Okay.
I found it very interesting that he has so much pressure to have a woman vice president, and from the black community, he has pressure to have a black female vice president or a black female running mate.
Right.
So my thinking is that this is probably the Dems' way of potentially getting the first female president into the White House.
No doubt.
I just have this theory or this hunch that they kind of want credit for that. They can already say they have the first black president.
Mm-hmm.
So, now I think it's about getting the first female president into the White House. I think if Joe Biden were to win, I don't think he would, but if he were, my senators will have to step into place. So I just want to know what you think about that.
Yeah. Okay.
That theory.
I think that is very plausible in nature, because I always was of the mindset that it was supposed to be the first black president, first female, then a transgender, like down the line as well, outright. So I believe that was always the plan to further, the movements that's going on now. So I'm not surprised at all. But Biden is not fit to be candidate, not fit to be president because of the dementia. Even his own people, as I mentioned yesterday, don't think that he's capable of it. So between now and then, all Trump has to do is just open up Biden's closet of dirty laundry, and that's all she wrote. Then I believe for some reason, like a lot of other people also think that there's Hillary Clinton once again 4 years ago was supposed to be investigated and swept under the rug, but she was not. And other than that, she's still living high on a hill somewhere. So don't underestimate the fact that Hillary, a lot of people were pissed about what happened last time. Round 2 could be a lot more beneficial for her, given the fact that people are pissed off about Trump and all the activist movements, and he's ruining the economy, all the stuff they put out there in a negative sense. Hillary right now could probably come in, and I think the African-American community that were heavy Hillary Clinton supporters back then might just say, hey, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Just because they hate Trump, regardless of what he's done or what he could do, more so is from just out of a pure hate for Trump. So I think Hillary will probably come out of nowhere, or Kamala Harris, somebody put here, or who knows, but they're just they're trying to buy votes. They're not trying to, they're using the race card or whatever to do that. So I believe that is possible to have a female president.
And to your point, I find it, I don't know if disheartening is the word I want to use, but I find it very interesting that a lot of black people, even though I'm pretty sure they can see that Joe Biden just can't string words together, the man can't think straight, and they're still willing to vote for him just out of pure hatred for Trump.
Correct.
Like that's to understand that that's where we are in society. And I recently seen somebody mention a woman on Twitter. I can't remember the woman's name, but when Joe Biden was accused of the sexual harassment charges and all that, a woman who was very well known went on Twitter as saying to the woman who accused him of that, "I'm sorry, I believe you, but I got to get Trump out of office. So I'm going to vote for him anyway." Like that's where we are in society, and it's very concerning to me that the level of hatred toward Trump is at such a high level that they're willing to. It's almost like people would probably vote in the devil himself just to get rid of Trump. Very true. It's sad.
Very true. I do agree, my friend. So thanks for sharing that theory, but definitely I think it is plausible. So thanks, my man. Because at this point, there's nothing that's too far fetched for what we're experiencing. So anything is possible, man. So appreciate you calling.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Have a good night.
Yeah, you as well. King Solomon, appreciate that love offering. Support all alternative media. This scare is fake. Appreciate that, my friend. So with that being the case, people, that is all she wrote for the night. We're in an hour and 4 minutes. And so I definitely enjoy hanging out. And it's one of those things where, I try to keep it well under an hour, because I see a lot of people out there do 2-3 hours. I'm like, man, that's a long time. Yeah, I'm not sure if I got that in me. But anyway, so I enjoy being able to hang out with you guys. To just do it again tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, we're going to do the RTD meetup. So tomorrow, for those that are interested, it's more so, I'll put out the rules. It's more so, I got to figure out how to do this. But we're going to do it via Zoom. Like I did last time, and you guys can just check in via camera, and we can just meet face to face. So hope to be able to do that tomorrow, Lord willing, and we can go from there. But other than that, enough of me ranting. I'm tired. Hope everyone had a good night. Hope everyone has a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your evening or morning, wherever you're watching from. Be blessed. Peace.